Thanks for checking out this movie review video. This is for the 2023 film Malum, and I will tell you that I had heard a lot about this, a lot of kind of buzz online about this being a pretty good film that wasn't on my radar, wasn't on a lot of people's radars. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and check this out because a few people who I somewhat trust have said, hey, this is really good. It is a good film. I do recommend checking this out. When I watched it, I actually rented it through Vudu. So it was only like, I think, 10 cents or $10 and some change with taxes and all that. So to support low budget independent film, not bad. I would pay that. Also, it's way less than if you're going to the theater. So it's like half the cost. This film's directed by Anthony DiBlasi, who also directed Dread, Last Shift, Most Likely to Die, Extremity, Casadaga, and Missionary, just to name a few. Written by DiBlasi as well as Scott Poiley, who also wrote scripts for Last Shift, Exhume, Casadaga, and Missionary, so these two have worked together before. Apparently this film is actually a reimagining of the film Last Shift. I have not seen Last Shift. I do know some people who have seen it, and then they've also seen Malum and said this is even better than Last Shift. So, I mean, you can't really take my word for it, obviously, because I'm just telling you what I heard from some other people. But I've heard that it's even better than Last Shift. So if you like Last Shift, might want to give it a go. Synopsis, I don't want to give too much away on this because there is a lot of kind of mystery built into the film, which is one of the best driving factors in staying with the movie. So it's basically about a woman who has a father who was a police officer, and something happened involving him at his precinct. I don't want to give that away because it's in the very beginning of the film. It's in the very beginning of the film, but it's something that I think people should experience on their own without knowing what's coming. So this is years later after that thing happens, and she goes there, and she's going to do the last shift at this precinct. And it's a horror film, and things are happening, and trust me, it is worth checking out. It is an interesting film. Love the story concept. Really do enjoy the way they've kind of pulled it off. Pretty good. All right, so they start with some very unsettling music that ends up going very well with some unsettling found footage material. So first I start thinking to myself, oh no, is this going to be an all found footage film? Because if you've been watching my reviews enough, you know I'm not a fan of found footage films, for the most part. There are plenty that I've actually seen that I've liked, but for the most part, not a fan of found footage. I wouldn't choose to watch it. So I was like, oh no, is this found footage? It's not. There is a little bit of a found footage aspect to it because there is some material that characters view because it was recorded. So just know it starts found footagey. It's not found footage, though, overall. But the way they started with that found footage aspect, it actually may have been fine if they made the whole thing found footage, because what they did there, and like I said, the music that they use with it, very unsettling, very well pulled off. You had my interest on that one. The portion before the title card definitely gets your attention. Definitely gets your attention. They kind of go at you hard. Then, like a lot of films do, they kind of like hit you hard before the title card hits, and then after the title card it's like reel it back a little bit, let's give you some backstory, let's build this world a little bit, introduce you to a character or two, let you know what's going on, and then kind of establish things from there. So it's one of the better kind of stingers in the beginning, I guess I'll just call it that. It's one of the better sequences before the title card that I've seen for a while. So it really grabs your attention and you're like, okay, I'm very much into this film. Let's see where we go here. There's a lot of nice, smooth camera movements in this film that help sell a creeping dread feeling. I'm a fan of really nice, smooth camera work. There's some really cool shots in this, very much inspired, good cinematography, good directing. It looks good. So if you are into a film that looks good, plus it kind of builds that atmosphere of a creeping dread and maintains it quite well, you may like this one. The pacing is slow, know this, but the atmosphere is really good. And you really do kind of settle into this feeling of anything could happen at any time. Now, part of that is the way it's shot. Part of that is the way they structure the story. Part of it is the acting. Part of it is the music. And part of it is just that atmosphere of just feeling like things are creepy and there's this dread, and that dread kind of like really never goes away, which is really nice. So you are kind of just like on edge and feeling as if anything could happen at any time. Those are films done right, in my opinion. You also feel like anything could happen at any time. I just literally said that. My apologies. It has some legitimately good jump scares, which for the most part, jump scares just make me roll my eyes these days, but there were some legit good jump scares in this film, and they don't go too hard on them. And I think that's kind of a key thing with getting people with jump scares, is you can't just keep trying to do it, because then people are going to be expecting it. You kind of have to use it sparingly, and I think in this film they do use it sparingly. There's a character who is not supposed to be likable in this film, but I do believe they're too over-the-top unlikable. I would have liked to have that character be much more restrained. It's a choice, not a great choice in my opinion. It just gets annoying, but it doesn't kill the film by any means. Information about what's going on overall is gradually revealed. Now, that does help with the pacing. So like I said, the pacing is slow, but because you have that kind of like creeping dread atmosphere going on, the shot selection is really good looking, the acting is engaging enough, and then you have this situation of them giving you enough little breadcrumbs at decent intervals, you stay engaged, or at least I stayed engaged. I definitely wanted to keep with it. I'm not one to be great on, slower paced films for the most part, but this didn't feel like it was unnecessary. It felt like it really fit the story and the atmosphere and all that good stuff, so I think they did a pretty solid job with that one. They used some good horror imagery, especially towards the end, I will say. There is some very interesting imagery that ends up getting used. You will get some good practical effects payoffs in this film, which I'm always looking for with horror films. It's not a deal breaker if it's not in there, but I'm very delighted when it is, and this film does deliver on some of that, so I'm happy about that. And it actually had a pretty good ending. It's not an amazing ending, but it's a pretty good ending for me personally. Yeah, I wanted a little bit more. It does feel like it kind of leaves a little bit hanging in the balance. Maybe they're kind of trying to set it up for a second one. I don't know. But I could honestly see that going either way. Maybe I need to read into it a little bit more potentially. I'm not 100% sure. But all the acting in the film was not, top-notch acting. There were a few moments where things felt a little bit weird, a little bit off, a little bit shaky. But overall, pretty solid job on the acting there. This film, I do feel like, deals with trauma. No big surprise there, because horror films, for the most part, love to mine trauma as kind of their main underlying theme in a film. So this one deals in trauma and how it can haunt others in a person's life, meaning haunt other people who are kind of around the trauma. Like, trauma happens to or with one person, and people kind of in their orbit end up being affected by that trauma in different ways. And maybe not just even those people, but places and things and blah, 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 blah. I'm not talking like a Conjuring, like Annabelle type thing or anything like that, but you'll know what I mean if you've already seen the film, and you'll see what I mean if you watch the film, which, again, I do recommend checking the film out, so I'm a fan of it. Oh, okay, I'll do that after this. Sorry, my mind just, derails me sometimes. It's just like, wait, hold on, do this, and I'm like, hold on a second, mind. So, out of 5 stars with half stars in play, I'm going to give it a 3.5 star rating. But know this, I did consider going to 4 stars. So really, if I was doing quarters, it'd be like 3.75. Getting close to a 4 star. I'm going to go officially 3.5, but, given a different day, different mood, maybe I could have gone that tip over into 4 star. But anyway, would love to hear your opinions on this one. Go ahead and put it in the comments. Do you love this one? Do you hate this one? Are you in between on it? I think it's a good, lower budget independent film that is a nice entry into horror. and I do recommend people checking that out. So the thing I was about to derail myself with, well, kind of did, is I've been trying to remember to do these t-shirt shout-outs. I believe it's the subscriber Nerdy Goth is the one who wants to know, what shirt are you wearing? So I got to do the shirt shout-out. This is from the Burbs. This is, I can only show you so much. It's from the Burbs. It's a Fright Rags shirt, which, by the way, I do love Fright Rags shirts because they're very soft. They are on the thin end, but they're very soft. I do like them. So the Burbs, it's awesome. Probably the best horror comedy out there. But anyway, again, give me your comments on this one. Subscribe to my channel. I'm derailing myself again. So please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I would appreciate that. Also, hit the notification bell button if you want to know when I'm putting up new videos, which I'm doing 3 a week at this point. So regardless, I really do appreciate your support in watching at least this video. Maybe check out some other videos, though. And until next time, keep it brutal.